Alrighty then. I think we're in business. I think we're in business. I think we're in business. Okay. It might take a minute for this to upload for you all. But at the moment, you can see me in my corner over here. Trying to get this all situated. So giving it another minute, trying to get this all together. Okay, well, needless to say, I had some. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. All right, so let's get this party started. Hello, hello, hello. This is Shirley Crawford, the Executive Director of the Women's Business Center, the owner of Second Chance Consulting, coming to you live because as many of you are, sequestered and quarantined, all to take care of your health and the health of others. Want to bring you some information because while you're at home, this is a great time to learn a new tool, to learn a new technique, to learn more about your resources, to read that book you've been thinking about. And so what we've determined here to do for you is that every Thursday at 1 o'clock, we'll come to you live with a seminar or a session of information that should be beneficial to you. And so in today's topic, it's not personal, it's business. And so with that in mind, I've given this presentation a plethora of times. As a matter of fact, at this point, I've written a book about it. And so I'm going to share that information with you. If you have questions, feel free to share them. And hopefully I'll be able to view them over here with all this technology working. I'll be able to view them and respond accordingly. I will take the bulk of the questions at the end, but if one pops up that I can answer immediately, I will do just that. All right, so let's get this party started. So normally at this point I tell you who I am. Yay, that's me. So I've been doing small business consulting for over 20 years. We love what we do over here at the center. Feel free to come by. 1510 Willow Lawn Drive, directly across the street from the Kroger at Willow Lawn. All right, that's a little bit of information about the center itself. You can see that on our website, wbcrva.com. So let's get to it, right? That's what we're here for. Let's get to this information. So the first thing is when you're considering it's not personal business, like why are you even interested in this subject matter? So the question becomes, how are you representing yourself online? Because that's what our conversation is about. To indicate that you are a professional employee, that you are a professional business owner, that you are legit and you're not one of these fake companies with fake news and fake posts, that you really do exist and you really do provide a service. And there's a lot of scammers happening out there. So the first question for you is, what aspect of being online for your business, for your personal brand, are you really trying to resolve and settle? And so today, I'm not here to convince you that social media is an amazing thing. That's another class. I do want to, as well, on an intro to social media, but you can find that information everywhere. I'm not going over how to do a marketing plan today. I'm not even going to talk about how to figure out content. The purpose today is to help you be authentic in being yourself, but to separate your personal you from your business you. And so that leads you to the question of like, why do you use social media, business, personal, etc., what type of accounts you have. We'll get into all that. And some of these are, like I said, I do this presentation a lot, so some of this you may or may not need at this particular moment, but I do love to highlight some of the more popular social media platforms, so that's what you see there. You should know off the bat for your business in particular, YouTube is just like leading the pack. Everyone is watching videos. Like, look at yourself right now. You're at home watching a video. I mean, it's live, but still, most people are at home learning a technique, learning something new, being entertained through video. Google Plus is basically defunct now, but, they tried. All right, so another part that you have to consider is what's your path? So when you're thinking about where you are with regards to social media, the question becomes, are you an employee trying to become an employer? Are you an employee with a side hustle? Are you an employee, that's what you do? You don't feel comfortable taking the risk of being a business owner? Are you an entrepreneur for life? And so each one of those determines a different message that you present to the world with regards to your social media. All right. So, and with those in mind, a lot of you are probably even wondering, like, why do I even need to be concerned? Or how is what I'm doing not the right thing? keep listening. I'll tell you all about it. So, how you start off. When you're first trying to figure out what you need to alter or how well you're doing, like it's just like a report card, to figure out if you're doing a good job with your professional social media or if you're not doing a great job. The first thing you should do is today we're going to talk about the ABCs of your social media presence, your online, developing your professional presence. And the A is the first letter of the alphabet. We start with assess. Like with any assessment, you're going to start by finding out what already exists. So Google yourself. If you've never done it, I'm amazed. And it's fun and disturbing all at the same time. It's a little scary. And so in the book, I talk about the example of my sister who says that she doesn't do social media and therefore this doesn't really apply to her. But even when I Googled her, I come up with tons of information. And for you, any public records, so that traffic ticket, that bankruptcy, if you were ever written up in a newspaper article, if your company wrote you up in their newsletter, if there are, like when I Google myself, I'm always amazed. You will find your home address. You can find out who your spouse is, who your children are. And there might be multiples of you. You can find pictures of you. So even if you aren't posting, someone else is, but more than likely, you too are also using social media. So like all the stats show that 70% of hiring managers have not hired someone based off of what they found on that person with regards to social media or online. Almost half of the entire population uses social media. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious and clear that it's not going anywhere. So your question is, how do you use it to your advantage, or at least make sure that it's not being used for your detriment? So that's the first thing. First things first, you assess. You start by Googling yourself. Then we follow that up we ask the simple question of, what is your email address? So I have the distinct pleasure of often I'll go out to VSU, Virginia State University, or I've done it at Virginia Union and other universities actually across the globe. I've gone in and had conversations about the steps that students need to take in order to be considered professional, especially in the process of looking for employment. I've been doing mentoring for a very long time now. Way back when I used to work with the Richmond Pal. Hey, people. And I consulted with them. And so I learned then that it's amazing to me the things that people don't consider. So if you're sending me your resume and it has a picture on it, which I am anti-picture. Some people are for picture. That's a personal preference. I prefer not to give anyone ammunition to say, oh, if you're blonde, then you're silly. Or if you are African American, you are, let's not even bother to say what you might say along with that. So oftentimes I just discourage putting a picture altogether, because if they want to know what you look like, they can at least have the courtesy of inviting you in for an interview where you have an opportunity to give them the whole package and not just a stagnant image of yourself. But when it comes to your email address, and our personal email addresses, we have all kinds of monikers, that we utilize. And is that what you want to be known for? You should consider that. So if your email address is descriptive, I always talk about sexual chocolate 123. Like, that's not what you want the hiring manager to see from you, right? The next question you ask yourself is, what social media accounts do you already have? Most of us have Facebook. In my case, I have a plethora more, but oftentimes it's because I use it for clients, or I will get an account so that I can learn how something works and then possibly never use it again. But where are you? Which accounts are you using? And then to go a step further, you're figuring out who likes, who follows, who comments on your posts, who tags you. I often call it, who's your tribe? And so I often talk about, I have a young lady, we've been friends. I declare, I think she babysat me when I was a kid. And so she spams me. I mean, she really does. I don't think she realizes it, but she does. She sends me these random videos. And you used to get these chain letters. Now people give them to you by social media. I find them highly annoying. But if our relationship is such that I honor you, then I will let you keep posting these silly things to me. And I might tell you, hey, I don't really care for those. But hey, that's what you like to send. All right, fine. So there's stuff on your page, and it might not even be your perception, your thought, your idea, your vision, your perception, but it still reflects on you, right? So if there's someone on your page who's like constantly screaming, shouting, cursing, like trollers do, that reflects on you. If there's someone on your page who constantly has a rant about the White House, that reflects on you. Everything on your page is a reflection of you, which takes me into the next piece with regards to assessing. So as far as assessing is concerned, what is your message? So for your personal page, is it just your way of connecting? Like I originally, I'm almost ashamed to say it, like I was anti Facebook, like because I was actually in school getting another degree when Facebook first came out. So I had an opportunity to join when it was still just on college campuses, and I was not interested. I did not care. I was not interested. Now it's vital, right? But you go back to like, what is the point? Or I connected on Facebook because at that point, an ex-boyfriend was contacting all of my friends trying to find me just to catch up. And so I was like, fine, I'll join. And that's what actually got me online. And then years later, teaching this stuff. Amazing. So what's your message? What's your point? Why are you online? And so that's the first thing you want to figure out. And then on your pages, on your information, and your social media accounts, is there profanity? Are you showing me that shirtless photo? And I admit, if you have a beautiful body, or in this case, I've seen lots of young ladies with their bikinis on the beach, spring break. Like, who do you want to see that? Is it your employer that you want to see that? These are the questions you have to ask yourself. Then you also have to look at like your network. There's a saying that your network is affiliated with your net worth. Who have you liked? What pages have you liked? What are you commenting on? Who are you connected to? So this assess should give you a picture of what you look like. So if I haven't met you, what do I learn about you? What do I perceive about you based off of the information that I find out about you online? And once again, even if you don't have the standard Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, more than likely you have LinkedIn. You might be using, well, if you're using, there are a bunch of you using Pinterest. But there are chat groups and groups just for those of you who love to, meetup groups. And there's so many different ways. There are thousands of social media channels that people don't always think of as social media, but they are. If they're connecting you to a social network online, they are a social media platform. And there are thousands of them. And the average person has 7.6 social media accounts. Now, millennials tend to have more. Those 55 and older tend to have less, but the average is 7.6. So even for you, like my sister, who always say, I'm not on social media, she is. I found her. She has a LinkedIn account, if nothing else. And so you're out there. The question is, what are you presenting yourself as out there? So it's like that book, and all they see is the cover because they don't know you, they haven't met you. What's your cover showing? What's your social media covering showing about you? So then that takes us to our next piece of our ABCs of developing your professional social media online presence. And the B of ABC is brand, or for some of you, it's a rebrand. So I talked about Googling yourself. It's not enough to do it once and then walk away. You have to Google yourself quarterly, right? And then you're also responding back to what you find when you're doing that Google search, right? So there are certain things that I mentioned before in the assess stage that you have no control over. So like bankruptcies stay on your record for 7 years. You can't do anything about getting them off. They are there. But let's say you're in year 8 and it's still showing up. You can reach out to the court system. I forget which one. But you can reach out to the bankruptcy court and say, hey, this is still showing up, and they can remove it. But the internet is forever. So it'll always be out there in some way, shape, or form, but it won't be there as a new piece of information. So it might get buried, you'd hope, underneath other information and not pop up so quickly as fresh information that is being reintroduced into the stream of the internet to talk about you every day. The next thing that you want to do is, but back to that, Googling yourself. So if a friend, here is the thing. So I have a circle of particular friends that they require approval for any pictures that you posted them online. And as a matter of fact, one of my sisters actually sent me a message saying, hey, I don't like this picture, please take it down. And so that's your right, because that's your image, your likeness, especially when people are tagging you. You have a right to say, please do not tag me. Please do not post or share my information. Do not include me. And so a lot of times when you're at a public event, you do not have, there's a term for it, and I'm just going blank on it right now. Sorry. There's an expectation of privacy. So legally speaking, there are certain times you should have an expectation of privacy. And there are others where you do not. So if you're at a meeting and you see someone walking around with a camera, then you know there's no expectation of privacy. If you see the camera, you should tell the camera person then and there, please do not capture my image. Please do not share this on any platforms, etc. It used to be that you would be expected to always sign a waiver. But now, if there is no expectation of privacy, then there is no expectation of privacy. As a matter of fact, not too long ago, there was a court case. I don't know if it went to court, but there was a legal injunction. It's between, oh my goodness, it's Drake and the little lady from the Akeelah and the Bee. Her name's not coming to me. So she went to a party at Drake's house. He was videotaping part of the party for a video, and she did not want to be included, so she locked herself into like one of the rooms so that she would not have to participate. And then there was a legal injunction or something or another. I don't know the end result. His statement was that on one of the doors it said the video recording was in progress and blah, 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 blah. And so, but you have to protect your brand if you're concerned about those types of things. So that's just a note. So that's creating a professional email address. I suggest that for this stage, what you do is use your name, Shirley Crawford at gmail.com, which someone has, mind you, and it's not me. Shirley Crawford at gmail.com. I think I'd like that back. Just letting you know. Or it can be, something, I always say something generic. ShirleyRVA at gmail.com is actually my personal email address. And then, so that's just something you can consider. So that way you're not giving someone ammunition to use against you when you're using something that is, clean, straightforward, nothing that gives people a reason to judge one way or the other. So, and with that newly created professional email address, you will create your professional social media accounts, right? So you can continue to have your Sexual Chocolate email address attached to your personal social media pages. But I would say lock those down so that no one can see them. But that comes under your C. So we're not there yet. We're still under brand. So right now, take the professional email addresses, create professional social media accounts. And you want to do that as quickly as possible so that if I'm looking you up, you didn't just create it last week. Like, it's clear this account has been around for a year or 2 years, and it's actually legitimate and not just something that someone made up last night so that they can, pollute the next election kind of a thing. People are very suspicious for very good reason. Don't give them a reason to be suspicious. This really is you, but it's your professional, personal you. Okay, so with that in mind, only like, follow, comment on posts that are related to the professional you. And so even that also ties into what's your message. So professional, personal me is rather serious, but I can be a little goofy. So like, I love the green M&M. I have dispensers like all around my office, right? So I love her. She is sassy and witty and fun. And so I have no problem making a post and having her in a picture or in an image or using one of her quotes in my personal professional. And so don't worry, I'll explain what the personal, professional. I'll explain all that when we get to C. Right now we're on B. And B is for brand or rebranding. And so when I'm looking at the content of what I post, what I share, what I like, what I do, it's all related to the Shirley that you see here at the office. So I'm at the office. So the Shirley here, if there's a joke I tell here, it's a joke I tell online. If there's something that I talk about here, it's something that I talk about online. And so it's just being intentional about your content, because we do it naturally. Naturally, we separate, but then we don't think about it intentionally when it comes to our social media. And you should, because online it's just a flatter version of three-dimensional you. So three-dimensional you at work, what does that look like? That's your personal professional. Okay. All right. So that leads us on to, at this point, I'd love to talk about brand. I'll do a whole seminar on branding and what that means. That's not happening today, but it's still one of my favorites. So I throw the slide in just to say branding, thoroughly important. Okay. And there's more, because branding really comes down to like colors and your logo and brand awareness and what does it look like and how to protect your brand. And speaking of protecting your brand, I mentioned about Keke Palmer. That's her name, Keke Palmer. In addition to that, there was a court case. Well, it didn't make it to court. There was an injunction. It was a cease and desist order. So Starbucks, and I tell the story every time, so if you've heard me say it before, just hear me say it again. It's a great story. Starbucks sent a cease and desist letter to a local, I'm in Virginia in case you are not, and to a local, I think, bar. So clearly not a coffee place. They had a drink and it was called like Mochaccino, whatever. The name was clearly related to a Starbucks brand, right? Because oftentimes when you go into those mom and pop places, they name their stuff after like local people. And so, which is great. In this case, Starbucks didn't really care for it. And so they sent a cease and desist letter, like really official, like they showed you the picture on the news, the whole nine. And so some people will be like, oh my God, I can't believe Starbucks is picking on this little company. And how did they even find out? And why are they being so serious about it? But here is the deal. On the other end of that, we have Xerox. Do you all even know what Xerox is? Like, no one even hears about them that much anymore. They're still around, though. But Xerox had, some of your original copiers. And so it came to the point where people would say, instead of go photocopy this document, they would say go Xerox it. So Xerox, like when I say, I don't go search online, I say Google it, right? Even if I'm not using Google, which most of the time I am, although I used to be kind of partial to Bing, but that's another story. So people get so accustomed to using that word, it becomes a part of standard vocabulary. So at some point, some company used Xerox, the word Xerox, in like an advertisement or something. And Xerox sued and said, cease and desist using our name in your pieces, because people are assuming that they were connected, or it was legitimizing someone else because of their potential relationship with Xerox when they had no relationship with Xerox. Xerox lost. Do you know why they lost? Because their name had then become a normal part of standard conversation. So instead of it being a proper noun, it was now just another verb. And so as such, the company could use it. And so you have to respect that Starbucks wants to protect their brand. And so therefore they make the effort to make sure that they protect it, it's theirs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it sounds like a lot, but you have to think about your brand that same way. So you as the person, your brand, your company is a brand. And so you have to respect and protect the brand, which takes us to the C of our ABC of how to develop your professional online social media presence. And so that C is for control. And so the control means guard your brand, protect your name. And so one of the things I always say is that you have to develop online schizophrenia. You need to have a bit of a multiple personality piece happening here. So I often mention that I'm an aunt, I'm a sister, I'm a cousin, I'm a niece, I'm a teacher, I'm a consultant. Sometimes I'm an artist. Sometimes I'm a dancer. Sometimes I'm a violinist. There are lots of different roles that I perform. For each one of them, I have a different presentation. So like, even if I were teaching this class that we're doing right now to different groups in my different roles, the way that I would share it would be different. The content might be a little different. The essence is the same, but my presentation is different. For some of you, it's more formal, it's more informal. Whatever the case may be, you are different based on your audience. And so you should recognize that. And so I always say, once again, I think I probably said it already, but I'll say it again. It's worth saying again. So, personal, professional, Shirley, and I'll explain those terms in just a second. I might tell a joke at work, which I don't know that I often do, but I might. If that's a joke I'm okay telling at the office, that it's a joke I'm okay saying online as personal, professional, Shirley. So let me stop, pause, take a time out, and explain some of my terminology so that we can all be on the same page. Because these are terms that I made up, so you might not know them. So we talk about personal, right? And so all that means is that this is the me for people who grew up with me, who've known me since I was a kid, who go to my church, who know that personal side of me. They're my friends who realize that sometimes I can't stop laughing and might roll around on the floor in a public venue and have no alcohol in my system and will just be giddy as can be. Or they're the people who know that at 3 a.m. I have these random rants that I used to do at 3 a.m. These days I'm asleep at 3 a.m. I try to be anyway. But I would wake up and I'd be up and I'd be like, hey, why is XYZ? Like just random. Or I'd go on some random tangent. And then at 3 p.m. I used to, well, actually it's backwards. Either way, at 3 p.m., 3 a.m., I either have a rant, a comment, a question. 3 p.m. is actually my standard, like I have a question time. Like I just want to, all of a sudden, I want to pontificate. I want to consider the world. And I come up with like these random questions at 3 p.m. And so at work, you might not appreciate my 3 p.m. question. My friends, on the other hand, understand they might get a text. They used to get a phone call or an email. And so it'll be like, okay, Shirley. And they respond to my silliness. And so how you present yourself is different. So if you're going into your boss's office, it's not the same as if you're going in to speak with your mother. Even if you're having the same topic of conversation, your tone, your presentation, how you dress is different. So we naturally separate that way, but we don't think about doing it intentionally in our online presence. And you need to actually be very conscious of, who am I representing right now? What aspect of my personality? I'm not being fake. I'm not being phony. I'm still the same Shirley. But Shirley at work is not the same as Shirley at home. She just isn't. And so Shirley at work is the one I'm presenting when I'm talking about my personal professional or my professional. So let me take a moment now, since I've talked about a little bit on the idea of split personalities, a little bit of schizophrenia, a little multiple personalities, or compartmentalizing. Let me take a moment to clarify personal, professional. Say those 3 times fast. Personal, as I was just saying, is the you at home, the you at Thanksgiving dinner, the you that people have known forever and they remember when you were a kid and how you skinned your knee and cried, or how you climbed a tree, or your first kiss. They know all that information. And so there you might be a bit unfiltered. I am filtered all the time. It's just what level of filter there is. You don't really want to know all the things that go through my very swift mind. So your most unfiltered is normally your personal. Your personal professional is like if you're coming to talk to me at work and we're hanging around the water cooler, which we don't have one here. We have water bottles, but that's another story. Or we're all hanging out by the receptionist desk, or we're talking. Like, what are the things that I share? What are my interests? Am I talking about a book, a movie I saw on television, a concept that I'm considering for my business? Am I considering, like, I'm looking around my desk, which has lots of stuff on it. What conversations do I normally have at work with you from a professional standpoint? What do I talk about when I'm networking? If I'm going out for drinks, which I don't drink, but that's just me. But if I'm going out for, something with people after work, or I'm hanging out with people that I've met who are potential clients or potential employer for someone. Um, that's a different conversation than I'm just hanging out with the girls and we're just laughing and giggling and playing spades or doing whatever it is we're doing. So that's the personal professional. So it's still me. It's still me, but it's work me. Right? That's personal professional. So when you hear me talk about personal professional, I'm talking about work you. Okay? Um, and then we get to your professional page or your professional online presence. Normally, that's you representing your brand or your business. Uh, so normally your personal brand you probably have as your personal professional. Unless you're a speaker, then you might have a professional page for your speaking or for your service or your company. And from that, in this case, like the Women's Business Center, if you go to our business page, we post a lot of motivational things because we're here to support women entrepreneurs. So sometimes that's encouragement. Um, Sometimes that's giving them tools or resources or information or education or just reaching out and connecting. And so that is your professional, right? If this terminology confuses you in any way, shape, or form, feel free to ask me about it. Or you can, well, I was going to say you can always grab the book and it gets into it a little bit more. But that just gives you an idea of how we're compartmentalizing how we operate online, especially when you're trying to separate personal from business. So a lot of you I see make the mistake of you cross reference your personal information with your professional information. And so like if you want to be my friend online, I will say no if you're on the wrong page, and then I will invite you from the page where you belong. And if you do happen to be, I have one friend in particular who's on multiple pages for me, and I have to always clarify to her, please be mindful of which page you're posting to. Right? So there are conversations you have to take because you have to guard and protect your brand, guard and protect your name. You have to do it, and there's no one else to do it for you. And one of the ways you do that is set up protocols to know when your name or business are being mentioned online. So Google does not pay me a dime, but Google, are you out there? Are you listening? You should. So Google has a thing called Google Alerts, and it's really kind of amazing, and it's free once you have a Google account. It really is kind of amazing. So with Google Alerts, you type in keywords, and so whenever those keywords come up, you get an email message, and it tells you that it found it. So my partner here at the center is Taiwan Lee, and so I have her in Google Alerts as Taiwan Lee, Ty Lee, right? Those are the two that I have her name in. And so it turns out there is a football player named Ty Lee. So I get notifications all the time about Ty Lee, and it's not our Ty Lee, it's that Ty Lee. But still, that's what happens. And so it's not 100 proof. You won't always get a notification, but it's one way for you to see if there's a big conversation happening about you or your business. So you put in your keywords and it sends you a message. What this does for you, it gives you an opportunity to be a part of the conversation. So I don't know about you, but I'm not a fan of people talking about me behind my back. And so sometimes they're having the conversation and you could be a part of it, but you're just not aware of it. Here is that opportunity. So if someone's discussing you, then you should know it. You should be aware. And then what you do when you are aware is that you don't just know there's a conversation, but you make sure you become a part of the conversation. And so part of that is you respond to comments. So people will make all kinds of comments on your personal, professional, and your professional pages. And so good customer service has to come into play. And so when someone is making a comment, you have to make sure you respond. One, truth be told, it increases your rankings the more engagement that you have. So you love comments, even negative ones. It actually increases your engagement. Two, responding lets the people who took the time to actually see your information, share your information, like your information, comment on your information, that you care and you appreciate them doing so. Even if they're giving you a negative comment, thank you for taking the time to come to me to let me know so that I can fix it. When it comes to that response, I do also mention when I teach class about customer service, um, one of the things you have to make sure is that you acknowledge that individual's concerns and get them offline. You do not want this to come out as a conversation that everyone can read. You want to acknowledge that they have a concern and then suggest that they either email you, call you, or that you reach out to them so this issue can be resolved. And then people can see that you responded and you care, even if the response that you care is not something that totally satisfied. Like maybe you won't give 100% back, but maybe you gave them a discount on their next purchase. Or maybe you don't do any of these things, but you acknowledge their concerns and you're stating to them what your policy is and you're working it out. That's all part of customer service. The last piece that I'm going to mention today, anyway, is the bullet point says block trollers, but really the response on how you decide to react to a troller is up to you. So first, in case you don't know what a troller is someone who is looking to be disruptive. Like you could say something totally innocuous and they yell, they scream, they curse. There's lots of profanity. A lot of times they misspell things. I don't know why trolling and misspelling go hand in hand, but that's generally the way that it goes. So they often take controversial things in order to get a rise out of other people. I don't know why. No one has given me a study on the psychology of a troller, but they exist, and the more popular you become, the more likely you are to get trolls. So it's almost a compliment, almost. And so, generally speaking, I tend to block trolls, but I will say for the record, I have seen some YouTube bloggers who are masterful at engaging trollers, and not only that, but managing to get them to become a part of their tribe. I don't know how they do it. That's not my skill set. I will not pretend. I lean towards blocking trolls altogether. But those are your choices. You get to decide how you want to respond to the trolling. But just be aware that it happens. It's not just you. It's the way of the online universe, because people can anonymously say anything they want to that they might not say to your face. They can say it to you online. And so, for now, that kind of wraps up my conversation with regards to how to establish your professional online presence. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I don't see any right now, but I'm not sure that my feed is all the way live. So there's a slight delay on what I say and what you see. So I'll give it a few minutes to see if you have any questions that'll pop up for me over here, and I will respond accordingly. And so it's taking a minute to update because I am live. But otherwise, if I don't get a chance to respond today and you have any more questions, you can feel free to email me, Shirley@wbcrva.com. You can feel free to comment on the Facebook Live page to let me know, the Facebook page, and I will get back and respond to you. Also, I think I mentioned that probably by the end of the day, at the latest tomorrow, the book will be available, I believe, on Amazon. So it goes a little further into details about what I discussed today. And in case you missed something, or there's another concept, or you want more information, the book is called It's Not Personal, It's Business. ABC's a Professional Social Media Presence, by me, Shirley E. Crawford. So you can pick that up either later today or by tomorrow. I'll make sure to put it into the comments where you can see it and, order accordingly. So, in case I do have a couple of next steps, even though I said I wasn't doing a marketing plan, I can't resist not mentioning at least. Your next step, at least for your businesses, is you want to figure out and create your marketing plan. The first thing you want to do is acknowledge who's your target market, what's your message, create a website, create a personal page and a business page, invite your friends, post daily at least 2 times. And so I'm going to my any questions frame here, but I should also mention, I mentioned about having a professional email account when I was talking about the B of the ABCs and your brand rebrand. And so if you are a business and you give someone a business card and it has a Gmail address on it, you're not considered legitimate. Even though Gmail email accounts they're normal, but they're free and there's no skin in the game, so people can't tell whether or not you are a legitimate business. So I highly recommend for your business. I talked about your personal professional email address, which is normally like your name at gmail.com. Gmail is fine for your personal professional. But for your professional, your business should not have a Gmail account as your email address. And for those of you who are concerned about spending money for that, I talk about in the book options of what you can do to find economical options on how to get a professional email address and not break the bank. Alrighty, give it a few more minutes. I said minutes, but I don't know if I really need minutes. I'll give you a little bit longer, so if you have any questions and you want to post them, now is the time. Otherwise, I'm about to log off and share with you. Here is how you can connect with us. So I'm over here at the center. There's my email address, the website for the center. If you're looking to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, which you should if you want to continue to know about these seminars we're going to offer each Thursday at 1 o'clock. Or if you'd like to know what else we're doing over here at the Wonderful Center. All of our handles are at WBC-RVA, as in Women's Business Center, RVA, Richmond, Virginia. If you want to follow or connect with me, which you should. On Facebook, I'm at Shirley E. Crawford. At Twitter, I'm at Shirley E. Crawford with a 4 in there. And at Instagram, I'm at Shirley.Crawford. At some point, I will do what I'm supposed to do and what you should do and create my brand so that they all have the same extension. So Angela just asked, do I train on certain website platforms? Let me make sure I understand the question. Do you mean with regards to like if you're using GoDaddy or WordPress or Wix? And do you mean with regards to your social media or as far as setting up your actual website? So once again, it takes a second for you to hear my question and to be able to respond to them. In my former life, I was a graphic designer and a website developer. So normally whenever I do trainings about websites, it's normally small group. It's actually like I came in, did your website, and I'm coming in and showing you information on everything from I do a website assessment. I also do a social media assessment. And so from that, I'll come in and say, we'll measure, like, how is it working? What are you utilizing? For some people, like, I'm not a gigantic Wix fan, although I can fully understand utilizing it. I even contemplated utilizing it because I'm making a new speaker website right now, and it's free. So I'm not sure exactly what you're asking me, Angela. So if you hear this and you can respond, I'll try to wait around to see so that I can respond to you. But if you're asking me, do I teach how to utilize various websites? I can. I don't as much. So it depends on your direct need. You can feel free to email me at shirley@wbcrva.com if you have like a more specific request. I feel like now I'm staring and smiling at you all. There's so much information that I could potentially share, but I try not to overwhelm. And this particular situation that I'm sharing with you all now is some of the basics. Let me see. I think Angela has responded. Okay. So you have your website and you want to know, and you're interested in how to design. I can do that for you one-on-one. Yes, of course. It always helps for me to know which platform you're on. So I'm a big GoDaddy fan. Like I've been using GoDaddy for my hosting site since before people knew what it was. If you're having a WordPress site, then that's a different conversation with regards to all of the pieces and parts that you can add in to utilize. There's so many apps that you can utilize with that. And so if you're interested in that in particular, we can have a conversation. I should mention now, thank you, Angela. I should mention that here at the center, we offer a free consultation, a one-time free consultation, and that's man, woman, or child. So if you have a specific question, or if you are looking for information about how to start your business, or you're in business and you have a specific goal and you'd like to discuss, you can schedule that with me. And so in a little while, I'll put that link into the comments as well. You can schedule a free consultation and we can have a conversation about what goal you're looking to accomplish and how you can go about doing so. So hopefully I am giving a basic answer to Angela's question. If anyone else has a question, now is the time. Que su pregunta? Feel free to ask away. And if I don't catch you during the live, which we're doing right now, you can still feel free to drop your question or comment into the comment section on the Facebook page. I'm pointing at it because it's over there. Or you can email me at shirley@wbcrva.com and I'll respond accordingly there. I've done a lot of talking for today. So I'm hoping that you are all safe and sane and sound. And so hopefully you are enjoying this information and you like these presentations. Also, if you have any particular topic you'd like me to cover, I can cover a lot of ground. So feel free, if it's an entrepreneurship question, if it's social media, if it's even website related, graphic design, anything along those lines, feel free to drop me a question and ask away, and I'll be happy to consider that for our next episode. Thank you, Angela. She said stay healthy as well. Greatly appreciated. So I'm going to make sure to add the link for those of you who want to get that free consult. As I mentioned, the book will be available either later today or tomorrow, depending on the ISB and everything being all set up. So wish you all the well. Yeah, why not? And so, as I always say, live better, do better, be better, and happy entrepreneuring. Alrighty, ta-ta.